In the world of WWE, the heroes aren't always the ones who get remembered the most. Sometimes, it's the villains who end up making history. From thunderous slaps and blatant cheating to bone-chilling brutality, these heels didn't just enrage the audience, they turned every show into an unmissable spectacle. Today, Wrestling Sphere invites you to explore the top 10 greatest WWE villains of all time, the ones we love to hate, but can't deny are true legends. Number 10. The Miz, WWE's natural-born villain. In a world where most superstars have to work hard to play the bad guy, The Miz stands out as someone the audience genuinely despises, effortlessly. He doesn't need to scream, snarl, or swing steel chairs. All it takes is a microphone, a smug half-smile, and his signature snarky tone to transform into a top-tier heel. Arrogant, cunning, and a master manipulator. These are the weapons that helped The Miz become one of WWE's most memorable villains. The biggest moment of his career came at WrestleMania 27, when he shocked the world by walking out as WWE Champion. Everyone expected it to be John Cena's Night of Glory, but thanks to a surprise twist, and a little indirect help from The Rock, The Miz retained his title. It left fans stunned worldwide. After all, this was the same guy many had written off just for being a reality TV star, and now he was ending WrestleMania as champion. But perhaps the moment that best captured Miz's natural heel persona came during his legendary clash with Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack in 2016. No one expected a backstage interview to become one of the most iconic promos of the decade. Miz exploded, tearing into Bryan for everything from his retirement to his criticisms of Miz's wrestling style. What made it hit so hard? It felt real. That wasn't a character talking, that was The Miz, calling out the fans, the locker room, and anyone who doubted him. The Miz didn't need bulging muscles or a menacing look to be a villain. He used intelligence, razor-sharp wit, and an unmatched understanding of crowd psychology to make himself the perfect guy to boo. A true heel, born to be hated. Number 9. Stephanie McMahon, WWE's ruthless princess. Don't let the elegant appearance and soft-spoken voice fool you. Stephanie McMahon is one of the most powerful and most despised villains in WWE history. As the daughter of Vince McMahon, the founder of WWE, Stephanie wasn't just the heir to the throne. She embodied arrogance, cruelty, and cold-blooded ambition like no other. From 2013 to 2016, during the Authority era, Stephanie and Triple H ruled WWE with an iron fist. They manipulated outcomes, crushed fan-favorite stars, and made themselves the nightmare of the entire WWE universe. With her signature smirk and scornful glare, Stephanie never hesitated to humiliate the crowd's heroes. Daniel Bryan, face of the Yes movement, became her prime target. She belittled him, denied his worth as a champion, and pulled every string she could to slow his rise. But Stephanie's power wasn't just in her words or backstage decisions. She became infamous for her thunderous slaps, blows so intense they echoed through the arena. From Brie Bella and AJ Lee to Paul Heyman and even her own father, Vince McMahon, no one was safe from that hand of authority. Each slap felt like a punishment without violence, yet somehow even more brutal. Her most iconic moment came at WrestleMania 32. Draped in black, with piercing eyes and a dictator-like speech, Stephanie walked to the ring alongside Triple H as the crowd showered them in boos. She didn't wrestle, didn't throw a single punch, yet she completely stole the spotlight. That's the mark of a true heel. Though not a full-time wrestler, Stephanie McMahon has etched her name among WWE's greatest villains. She didn't need to step in the ring to make fans want to see her taken down. Number 8. JBL, WWE's cold-blooded capitalist. If there was ever a wrestler who made fans want to turn off the TV out of sheer hatred, it was John Bradshaw Layfield, better known as JBL. Once a rugged Texan brawler, he transformed into a Wall Street tycoon in a suit, riding limousines and flaunting his massive wealth. But don't be fooled by the polished image. Beneath the expensive suits was a ruthless, conniving, and downright heartless heel. As WWE champion, JBL almost never won clean. He relied on cheating, trickery, and underhanded tactics to keep the gold around his waist. During his 280-plus day title reign, he managed to defeat major names like Eddie Guerrero, Booker T, and even The Undertaker, not through skill, but with interference, distractions, and referee manipulation. Each time JBL found a way to slither out with the title, fans wanted to reach through the screen and choke him. But nothing cemented his place as one of the most hated characters, quite like the controversial segment where he chased immigrants across the U.S.-Mexico border on WWE television. His gimmick, an extremist wealthy white capitalist who looked down on immigrants, sparked outrage across the media. It crossed a line. But that's what made JBL so effective. He didn't just play a villain, he became one in the eyes of the public. JBL never wanted to be loved. In fact, he thrived on the booze. That's what defined him, a true heel to the core, a cold-blooded, arrogant, filthy rich elitist you just couldn't stand. Number 7. Chris Jericho, WWE's most versatile villain. When it comes to Chris Jericho, you can't box him into just one role. As a living legend, Jericho could have fans laughing on Monday and absolutely outraged by Tuesday. But when he chose to embrace his dark side, it wasn't just acting, it was a masterclass in character psychology. One of his peak heel runs came with the debut of The List, just a small clipboard that became a global phenomenon. Anyone who irritated him, whether it was a tag partner, referee, or even a fan, was immediately added to it. "You just made the list" wasn't just a catchphrase, it was a psychological jab that sent crowds into a frenzy of hate. Jericho turned something silly into a powerful tool of entertainment, and no one did it better. But if you want proof of just how ruthless Jericho could be, look no further than his legendary 2008 feud with Shawn Michaels. In one shocking moment, Jericho punched Michaels' wife in the face, shattering her glasses and drawing blood, live on television, in front of millions. That wasn't entertainment anymore, that was malice. It hit fans emotionally and went down as one of the most effective heel turns of the modern era. Chris Jericho isn't just a villain, he's a genius at manipulating audience emotion, turning every line, gesture, and gimmick into something unforgettable. That's why, in any era, Jericho remains one of the smartest and most adaptable heels in WWE history. Number 6. Edge, the ultimate opportunist. Edge isn't just a name, he's the embodiment of betrayal, cunning, and calculated chaos in WWE. With his wild blonde hair and sly glare, Edge never tried to be the strongest guy in the room, just the smartest. And that's exactly what made him one of the most dangerous heels the company has ever seen. The moment that changed his career, and rewrote WWE storytelling, was when he became the first person to successfully cash in a Money in the Bank briefcase. In 2006, right after John Cena survived a brutal war, Edge stormed the ring, cashed in when nobody expected it, and after just a few moves, walked away as WWE champion. That night, the Rated R superstar was born. But Edge wasn't just an opportunist, he was a master of dirty tricks. During his iconic feud with The Undertaker, he did everything imaginable to keep the World Heavyweight Championship. From manipulating then SmackDown GM Vicky Guerrero to recruiting lackeys like Hawkins and Ryder, the Edgeheads, he turned everyone around him into pawns for his own gain. Edge didn't win because he was better, he won because he was dirtier. And that's what made him so captivating. No one played the bad guy quite like Edge. He made you hate him, but also made you admit that no one cheated with such brilliance. Edge wasn't just a character, he was every noble babyface's worst nightmare during his era. Number 5. Randy Orton, the cold-blooded Viper. You don't need to say much, just mention the nickname, the Viper, and fans instantly picture a cold-blooded heel ready to strike anyone, even former allies. Randy Orton isn't the loud or flashy kind of villain. He's the silent type, the one who lurks, waits, and then delivers a lethal blow before you even see it coming. One of the most brutal moments of Orton's career came in 2009 during his heated feud with Triple H, not just in the ring, but deeply personal. In a scene that shocked WWE fans everywhere, Orton delivered an RKO to Stephanie McMahon, then leaned down and kissed her as a handcuffed Triple H looked on helplessly, watching his unconscious wife. This wasn't just heel behavior, this was psychological warfare at its most disturbing. Orton also earned the infamous nickname, the Legend Killer, and he lived up to it. At his peak, Orton took down a string of icons, the blood-soaked Mick Foley, the legendary Hulk Hogan, and even Ric Flair, a man who once treated him like a son. To Orton, no legacy was sacred. Every hero was just another target for his lightning-fast RKO. Randy Orton didn't need to scream in your face to show you he was the villain. All it took was a cold stare, a sinister whisper, and, boom, a devastating strike. That venomous persona never left him. It just waited for the right moment to strike. And when he did, No one was left standing. Number 4. Rowdy, Roddy Piper, WWE's original master provoker. Long before WWE had sneaky heels like Edge or icy killers like Randy Orton, there was one man who laid the foundation for the art of pissing people off, and that man was Rowdy Roddy Piper. In an era when villains were often just fall guys, Piper was a different breed. He didn't fear hatred, he thrived on it. With his trademark kilt, wild eyes, and cocky, unfiltered mouth, Piper became one of the most unforgettable and irritating heels WWE has ever known. The moment that defined his career, and cemented his legacy, was the infamous segment on Piper's Pit with Jimmy Superfly Snuka. What started as a tense interview ended in utter chaos when Piper suddenly smashed a coconut over Snuka's head. It was a shocking act that left fans speechless and the media buzzing. It wasn't just a scripted spot, it was a cultural flashpoint. In that instant, Piper became the most hated man in wrestling. But Piper didn't stop there. He played a central heel role in the very first WrestleMania, going head-to-head with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. Without Piper, the WrestleMania era may never have exploded the way it did. Fans despised Piper so much that it made Hogan, America's golden hero, shine even brighter. That's the magic of pro wrestling's good versus evil dynamic, and Piper mastered it like no one else. Rowdy, Roddy Piper didn't need championship gold or 5-star matches. All he needed was a microphone and his chaotic, unfiltered mind. The rest. He made fans want to throw chairs at him, and yet they couldn't look away. A true provocateur, in every sense of the word. Number 3. Triple H, WWE's tyrannical king. Triple H isn't just a wrestler, he's the embodiment of power, control, and cold, calculated politics behind the scenes of WWE. Nicknamed The Game, Triple H didn't just beat his opponents in the ring. He crushed them through a system he quietly controlled from the shadows. From 2002 to 2005, fans sarcastically dubbed his era the Reign of Terror, as Triple H dominated Raw as World Heavyweight Champion. During this stretch, anyone who dared to rise up was swiftly taken down. Names like Booker T, Rob Van Dam, and Kane all fell victim to matches seemingly rigged in Triple H's favor. What infuriated fans wasn't just that he won, it was the sense that no one stood a real chance while he held the title. But Triple H's heel persona extended far beyond the ring. Alongside his wife, Stephanie McMahon, he co-founded The Authority in 2013, a totalitarian regime that seized complete control of WWE programming. No one suffered more under this reign than Daniel Bryan. While Bryan was exploding in popularity, Triple H and Stephanie continuously held him back, robbing him of main event spots and igniting outrage among fans. It all led to the legendary moment at WrestleMania 30, where Bryan overcame every obstacle and defeated The Authority. But no one forgets, Triple H was the one who built those obstacles. Triple H never needed to yell to show his dominance. He sat on his throne, leaned back with his hands folded, and smiled as everything unfolded exactly how he planned. Calculated, intelligent, and ruthlessly manipulative, he was the undisputed king of control in WWE. Number 2. Ric Flair, the ultimate master of dirty tactics. If you've ever wondered how a wrestler can win world championships dozens of times over decades, look no further than Ric Flair. But he didn't win because he was the strongest or the fastest. He won because he was the dirtiest. Flair wasn't just the nature boy, he was the living embodiment of sneakiness, deception, and in-ring manipulation turned into an art form. Every time Ric Flair stepped into the ring, it was like watching a Broadway performance of high-level cheating. From using the ropes for leverage, to spitting in his opponent's face when the ref wasn't looking, to low-blowing without hesitation, Flair used every trick in the book to keep that championship gold around his waist. And the strangest part, fans knew exactly what he was doing, and still couldn't bring themselves to truly hate him. Because Ric Flair wasn't just dirty, he was memorable. And then there were the Four Horsemen, the iconic heel faction led by Flair that terrorized the NWA and WCW. Alongside Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Barry Windham, the Horsemen were the blueprint for what a dominant, hated group should be. Under Flair's leadership, they ambushed, blindsided, and overwhelmed every babyface hero, from Dusty Rhodes to Sting. Ric Flair didn't need to scream into a mic to announce he was the bad guy. All it took was a loud "woo" and a sneaky tug of his opponent's tights to send the arena into chaos. That's why he remains the undisputed master of cheating, A villain so good, you almost love to watch him lie, cheat, and win. Number 1. Vince McMahon, WWE's most ruthless and terrifying overlord. No one understands the role of a heel better than the man who created them, and Vince McMahon is the ultimate proof. As WWE's chairman, Vince didn't just run the company. He inserted himself into the show and became the most feared villain ever to appear on TV. No wrestler has ever held the kind of absolute power Vince did, and no one ever wielded it with such brutal intent. The legendary feud between Vince and Stone Cold Steve Austin from 1997 to 2001 remains one of the highest-rated storylines in cable television history. Week after week, Vince tried to break Austin, suspending him, firing him, even calling the cops to have him arrested. But the more Vince attacked, the more beloved Austin became, and the more hated Vince was. It was the perfect love-hate dynamic, with Vince playing the petty, selfish, power-drunk boss who would stoop to any level to protect his fragile ego. And nothing captured the disgusting brilliance of Vince's villainy quite like the infamous Kiss My Ass Club. In this twisted display of dominance, Vince forced wrestlers, employees, even commentators, to literally kiss his bare backside live on TV. From William Regal to Jim Ross, no one was safe from this humiliating power trip. Fans were shocked, furious, and yet, couldn't stop watching. Vince was just that good at making people want to punch their screens. As much as fans loathed him, Vince McMahon was the soul of WWE, not just because he owned it, but because he knew exactly how to make people hate him at the right time and in the worst way. No strike is more brutal than unchecked power, and no one wielded it more effectively than Vince. A tyrant, a puppet master, and an untouchable heel. No one else comes close. Who do you think is the ultimate villain on this list? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Wrestling Sphere so you never miss another epic video. We've got plenty more shocking stories coming your way.